informative speech on social anxiety. According to Falk in the New England Journal of Medicine, social anxiety disorder affects up to 13% of the U.S. population and is characterized by intense fear of social situations, which the person anticipates being evaluated negatively. Think of a time when you gave a speech or a presentation, or think of a time when you went for a job interview. How did you feel? I bet most of you feel you needed to do your best to leave a good impression or to get the job you wanted. In these situations, you want people to think positively of what you had to say, or leave the job interviewer thinking you are the best person for the job. Now imagine that feeling in everyday social situations. How would you feel if you had to go through that type of anxiety every time you went out? Have I done immense research on this topic? I have dealt with this myself over the past few years. An individual with a social anxiety disorder has unpleasant feelings through emotional, behavioral, and physical symptoms, and finding the right type of treatment is important to overcome these symptoms. It's important for one who doesn't know about social anxiety disorder to understand each symptom the person is going through. Emotional cognitive symptoms can be looked at as a basis for this mental disorder, because these symptoms are what leads to the others. According to Schneider and others from the comprehensive psychiatry, excessive fear of scrutiny is a defining feature of social anxiety disorder. Individuals with this disorder have an irrational fear of most social situations. So the increased amygdala activity has been identified in an individual who has excessive fear of a social situation through functional brain imaging. And what the amygdala is responsible for is it's responsible for preparing your body for imminent threat or fearful situations. So those with social anxiety disorder is hyper-responsive. This excessive fear of scrutiny can come from several things that the person fears they're being judged for. As mentioned in the New England Journal of Medicine, some examples include being judged as anxious, weak, stupid, boring, or unlikable. On top of excessive fear being a huge part of social anxiety disorder, these individuals can also have low self-esteem and be affected more easily by criticism. Because of these cognitive symptoms, physical symptoms come into play. Through my experience, physical symptoms occur when the emotional symptoms are happening. When an individual is put into a social situation that causes the fear or emotional symptoms, physical symptoms can occur. Physical symptoms include sweating, heart racing, trembling, trouble concentrating, nausea. Although I've mentioned that in my experience that physical symptoms come into play because of the emotional symptoms, one can occur without the other. Just like the emotional symptoms, physical symptoms can impair the person, making it harder for them to enjoy everyday life. Emotional and physical symptoms can be so debilitating that it causes a person to show signs of behavioral symptoms. According to Stein and Stein from The Lancet, individuals with social anxiety disorder are typically shy when meeting new people, quiet in groups, and withdrawn in unfamiliar social situations. Avoidance of social situations is a big part of social anxiety disorder. Those individuals will avoid any situation that will cause them to be fearful. They might even avoid hanging out with friends. As stated in The Lancet, this can lead to such individuals being mistakenly labeled as snobs. Being reserved is another part of the behavioral symptoms. People that are dealing with behavioral symptoms are very quiet, and they can also refrain from expressing opinions. With that being said, social anxiety disorder can be mistaken for shyness. Even though social anxiety disorder affects a person much worse, being shy has similar symptoms as well. It's important to understand that shyness is being nervous around around or in front of people, but it doesn't affect a person's functioning. Overcoming these symptoms is essential to bettering the life of the person dealing with social anxiety. That's why there is psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy in treating social anxiety disorder. Psychotherapy involves several methods of treatment, though cognitive behavioral therapy is the top treatment for those who have social anxiety disorder. CBT is a type of therapy where one talks with a therapist about the struggles they face on a daily basis and how to work through them. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, studies have shown that CBT can be seen as a beneficial treatment for social anxiety disorder. Pharmacotherapy is using different types of medications for the treatment of social anxiety disorder. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or known as SSRIs, has been the top treatment for pharmacotherapy. Serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, also SNRI venlafaxine, has similar results as the SSRIs. Pharmacotherapy and CBT are similar in effectiveness. Although pharmacotherapy shows immediate improvements, while the effects of CBT are more lasting. Social anxiety disorder affects a person through emotional, physical, and behavioral symptoms, and figuring out the best option to overcome these symptoms is important. Social anxiety symptoms can manifest in many forms. The symptoms I have mentioned are not the only symptoms. Everyone is affected differently, which means people with the disorder don't always show the common symptoms that you think you would. Social anxiety is very real and should be taken seriously.